So I decided to complete a game in less than 4 days for a 2-week jam. I didn't even know this jam existed until I one day stumbled upon a Reddit post about this jam. Now you might think, what makes this jam so special and why did I decide to participate even though it was almost over? And the reason is it's hosted by Dani. And if you don't know who Dani is, he makes fun games and even funnier videos about them, even though he was inactive for multiple years now, or he still is inactive on YouTube. And he also is the person who actually inspired me to make games like 3 years ago. So the theme is attraction, and today I've already thought a bit about what I might want to make. My current idea is to make a simple game where you have maybe even procedural generation and you have planets, you have an infinite space of planets. You can press space key or left mouse button and that will activate the vehicle you're in. And what activation means, it basically attracts to nearby planets and it accelerates. It's basically similar to Bad Game, I think, if I'm right. First I'll start working on the planet and the driving thing. So basically the game, I wanted to start something like this. And then when you press space, it will start accelerating, always faster or something. Yeah, and then as soon as you release space, then it will just go off into the distance. Yeah, and then maybe each planet you land on you get points, or you have to avoid black holes, or maybe there are some things where you can't or shouldn't magnetize towards. This idea didn't really make it through the jam, but I do kind of like it and have a lot in mind for it. I might continue this game somewhere and implement this endless mode with meta progression, play upgrades and a lot more. For now I just made some predefined levels and hoped for them to be alright. So I experimented a little bit with the planet thingies and I think it is somewhat alright, although I kind of don't like the planet accelerate the cube, because if you enter here you will not land on the planet, like you need to be very close. So I added symbol thrusting now, and those lines which you can see display the gravity force, or at least part of it. There's one force which just moves the rocket closer to the planet. I implemented that with transform to translate, means it doesn't affect the velocity of the rocket, it just moves the position. The yellow line also influences the velocity of the rocket. So for now I basically have fuel which you can use. And when it's done, you can't use fuel anymore. And what I also did is, when you have more hearts than can actually fit, then they will be squished together. Okay, so in theory, my world generation script should work. I haven't tested it yet. You know what, I kind of want 2 modes. I want like some sort of challenge mode and some sort of endless mode. Like what I'm playing now would be the endless mode. And the challenge mode is maybe a predefined amount of planets in predefined spaces, and you have predefined fuel and upgrades and everything. You might all know I really like scriptable objects in Unity, and basically everything in here works with scriptable objects. If we, for example, look at this level, we have multiple planets, and if we look at this in the scene view, we can actually see that we have no planets whatsoever. We only have these things which are representing the planets, and basically what you do here is we have this celestial object script, and you can select here a planet, which is a scriptable object. If I would redo this, I probably wouldn't do everything with scriptable objects, because the way celestial objects look, okay, let me just make a new one, create celestial object. Here you can find a name. Here we then can select the gravitational field radius. Collision actions will be executed whenever the player lands on a planet. Orbit actions will execute whenever you enter the orbit, and they will execute each frame. And then here you can select if it should occur on controlled landing, on uncontrolled landing, or on both. Uncontrolled landing is when you crash into the planet basically. Then we have execute only once. If this is checked, the script will be removed once it's executed. And then we have, for this example, for the player health collision action, we can specify an amount of health change that will be applied to the player. Okay, so I did a lot of experimenting and I did a lot of playtesting and debugging and stuff like that. And what I came up with is I have a world generation system which kind of works. When you don't press anything, you pretty much will always end up on a planet, and that was previously not the case. Previously, when you didn't press anything, you got accelerated by the planet, sort of like this, but imagine you don't get pulled back. And now you get actually pulled back. You have like a pretty high amount of force. Finding the right amount of drag was pretty difficult. Initially, I just had no drag at all, and then the planets just accelerated everything. Then I just added an arbitrary value for drag, which also didn't work that great. And the way it is handled now is the faster you are, the more drag applies. Means if you're slow, you don't really slow down that much. But if you get faster, you slow down more. So I don't know when the last clip was, but basically I added or rather fixed collision damage. So now when you have too much velocity in the direction of the center of the planet, you lose a life. This means when you collide you get damage, but you should be able to have a high speed, and if the speed is not directed at the planet, or rather the center of the planet, you shouldn't get damage. Maybe I'll manage to do so. Probably not. Okay. Yes, I managed to land. See, it works totally great and it's totally very easy and understandable. And so yesterday I started working a little bit on the menu. You can select now. It's still very early work in progress menu, but this is an idea of how I might make it. I don't know if I already showed you the skill. Yeah, okay. The spawning is still too bad for it to be actually playable. Because like those bigger planets have so much more attraction forces that it's just basically impossible to collect a skill point. Yeah, maybe like this. Yeah, I did it. Then we have also the tutorial. I wouldn't say we have it in place, but like, it's a start. Press space or RMB to expand, your control is accelerating, and then you probably collide with this one. You have enough health though, and that probably will also increase the oxygen so that you don't have to worry about it in the tutorial. And then maybe the player starts by accelerating just a little bit and realizes that they can accelerate like this. And what I did is this skill point has like a very big gravity area and also a big gravity force. So basically, even if you accelerate like not the right direction at all, it should be fine. Today, what I'll do is what I'll start with is maybe finishing the tutorial, probably making a proper system for challenges. Like, endless mode is cool and I kind of want that to be the main mode, but it's also a lot more work than challenges, because basically for challenges I just place 3 planets, set a certain condition, like you have limited fuel, you have limited oxygen, you have limited lives, and then you need to complete that level. So basically I'm having an average game jam moment, means I feel like I probably won't be able to finish any of this. And this time it might really be true. And nothing works because I just broke a bunch of things and nothing's working. At least I have my debugging rubber duck. Wait, I can show you an image. Actually, let me record a nice clip. This is my debugging rubber duck sitting on the microphone. In the back is my laptop running the game, and it's not working. I think Unity's shader graph is a great tool because I have no idea how to actually make shaders without shader graph. I want to learn it at some point, but not my priority. Basically, this shader is our sky background shader, and how it works is we basically have the world position and a gradient noise. The gradient noise will be offset by the world position. Can I show that here? No, I can. I'll show it later. Here we basically have the sign of the time adjusted by some values to describe how fast and how much it fades, which then will be clamped so that I can better use it with color inversion. Then I multiply this by the spots color, and I do the thing with the inverted colors with the background, and then I add them together. Background scaling, so we can decrease this to like 0.03 maybe, and then we can see this is our background. It also scales, we can increase the speed, and we also can increase the intensity, which should not be increased too much. We can also change the colors, and what I meant with the word offset position is I can move this around and the noise map remains the same, which is kind of cool. So yeah, this is the game. It took me like, I don't know how long exactly. I did not really spend a lot of time on it until the last day, during which I had to sacrifice some sleep to complete it. Then I had some other responsibilities, after which there were still roughly 1.5 hours remaining. So I showed the game to some friends for some playtesting. I realized the font was buggy and didn't work at all. I luckily managed to fix it and resubmit half an hour before the jam was over. Anyway, you can download it on badpaddy.itch.io, the link is as always in the description. While this game might not have been the best one, I still think I enjoyed making it. It was exhausting, especially because I had quite a lot of other things to do, but I always like seeing how it all comes together in the end, and how after each game jam I just have some sort of game at least. Also, I learned that working with rotations in Unity can be really confusing, but now I understand a little bit more of it. So I guess thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Also, this video was like really spontaneous and unplanned. So, I mean, the week before this released I didn't even know the jam existed, so yeah. And I really want to continue working on this game. I have a lot of other things to do, so I'm not sure what my priority will be. But I want to complete my endless mode and some other features, so stay tuned. See you next time. Bye!